Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. As you can probably tell from the title, we are going to be talking about my fainting spells and my head trauma. So stay tuned for that.
Hold up.
Alright, so the very first time that I ever passed out was whenever I was in 5th grade. This happened about 3 minutes after I walked into the nurse's office because I had hurt my finger on the playground at recess. I was sitting on a little cot bed type of thing, and I remember what felt like me falling asleep and what felt like me waking up in my bedroom and getting up out of bed. And the next thing I remember after I felt like I was asleep and just had gotten out of bed, I woke up in the nurse's office. And whenever I woke up, the nurse was on the phone with my mom, and she was explaining to her that she thought that maybe I could have possibly had a seizure. She knew that I passed out, but she wasn't sure if I had a seizure along with that. So my mom, of course, freaked out, immediately came and picked me up, and I went to the hospital and they said that there was no sign of a seizure, that I may have just been dehydrated or it may have been because I didn't eat breakfast that morning. That was the very first time that I ever passed out. Now, the second time that I ever passed out was in 7th grade. It was early in the morning and I was in band practice. I was playing the saxophone and we were in the middle of a song, and all I remember was falling face first, frontward, and hitting my head on a tuba. Not very hard, just that's what I remember. And I went to the nurse's office and the nurse didn't even want to call my mother. I made her, obviously, and thankfully I did because my mom wanted to take me to the hospital again and see if there was something that was going on that was making me have these little pass out spells. Again, there was nothing wrong, and so I went home and I got some rest. Now, the next time that I passed out was my junior year of high school. I was with my ex-boyfriend and friend at the time, and we were shopping for junior ring dresses. We had spent the majority of the day at the mall shopping for and looking for dresses, and finally around like 3 o'clock or so, I found a dress. Now, keep in mind, I had not eaten all day, and I had drinking water and I had stayed hydrated, but it also wasn't an uncommon thing for me to not eat. There was some days that I didn't eat until 3 or 4 o'clock, and passing out wasn't normal for me if I didn't eat that day. So again, it was around 3 o'clock or so, and we all decided to go to the food court and get something to eat. We were literally in the end of the line. They were about to hand us our food, and I turned around to my ex-boyfriend at the time and I said, "I think I'm going to pass out." Now, as soon as I said that, I passed out. The next thing that I remember was waking up on the ground, laying on my back, and looking up. I immediately wanted to start getting up, but someone next to me had me down and they said, "No, no, no, don't get up. Your head is bleeding." So I started to panic a little bit because I had never been in that serious of a situation. I had never been that hurt. I've never broken anything, knock on wood. I was terrified. And I look around and my ex-boyfriend and my friend are walking away. I'm guessing because they were scared or something. But then the person that was next to me said that they called 911 and that the paramedics were on their way. Something did happen while I was laying on the ground that was pretty crazy to me and emotional in a way. While I was laying on the ground, some man who I did not see, my ex-boyfriend did not see, my friend didn't see, came to my head and asked if they could pray for me. And I, of course, said yes, and they said a prayer for me. And honestly, that could have been the reason why my life was saved, because I had a very, very large gash on my head, insert picture here, and I was just bleeding out, and it was very intense. And I'm sure that in a way, by that man praying for me and giving me those positive vibes, he kind of saved my life. And I'm so, so grateful for that. No matter what your religion is, if you believe in God or not, if you believe in positivity and positive thoughts and the law of attraction, then you should believe that what that man did for me did something amazing. Now, I was laying on the floor of the mall food court, and the entire food court was around me, staring at me. I had still not really known what even happened because I blacked out and didn't remember, obviously, passing out and hitting my head. I didn't realize that not only did I have a huge gash on one side, but I already had a huge bump on the other side. So what happened whenever I passed out was I passed out and hit my head on a metal railing, and then I hit my head on the floor, which caused my head to split open. Once I waited for about 5 minutes or so, the paramedics arrived super, super fast. They immediately got me up, wrapped my head, and the chief paramedic sat me in front of him and questioned me about if I was on any drugs, if I had a history of this, if I had a history of epilepsy, if there was any specific medical conditions that they needed to know about that they could treat right then and there, or in the ambulance or at the hospital. But by this time, my mom was already on the phone with my friend. And my mom was kind of freaking out, but my mom didn't know the extent of what had happened. She didn't realize that my whole head was cut open and I had double head trauma. She just thought maybe I had just passed out. So me and her talked on the phone, and I kind of told her that I think I was all right to just go in the car and not take an ambulance ride to the nearest hospital, because we didn't even want to go to that hospital anyways. We wanted to go to a hospital that was like 30 or so minutes away, which the ambulance wouldn't drive us to. They would only drive us to the nearest hospital. And the ambulance ride was going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So because I decided that I thought I was okay, me and my mom decided together that we were just going to have my ex-boyfriend drive me to the hospital and that my mom would meet me there. Once we got to the hospital, we probably waited about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we got into a room and they unwrapped my head so that they could assess my injuries. Once they assessed my injuries, then they wanted to get me in for a head CT to make sure that I didn't have any internal bleeding or any kind of brain damage or anything like that. Once that came back clear, then they decided that they were going to put 6 staples in the side of my head to close up the huge gash that I had gotten whenever I passed out. So after I got the staples, they sent me home to rest, and I was in a dark room for about a week because of my head trauma and the concussion that I had. The first couple times that I passed out were scary, but this time was terrifying. I had never been that hurt, and it gave me a lot of anxiety. Every time that I felt funny or I felt like I could possibly pass out, I started to kind of have a panic attack and have to start breathing differently and calm myself down because I was so terrified of passing out again. I was really hoping and praying that that would be the last time that that ever happened to me, but unfortunately it wasn't. The next time that I passed out was my senior year of high school in the summer. I went to a Future concert with one of my old best friends, and we had eaten that day. I had drank plenty of water, and even whenever I started to feel a little bit funny, I went and bought a $13 water bottle. And it was towards the end of the concert, and I had sat down on this blacktop where it was half grass, half blacktop. I had my feet on the grass and my butt on the blacktop. And A few minutes went by and I started to just feel very funny. My ears started to feel very echoey and everything's just started to feel kind of slow motion. The next thing that I remember is waking up and opening my eyes, and my friend was freaking out. I was looking up and I had no idea what had just happened. Besides the fact that I had just passed out. I wasn't sure if I was hurt because whenever I had double head trauma before, I didn't really feel anything. And there was a nurse that actually ran out of the crowd. She was enjoying the concert and she was just asking if there was anything that she needed help with, if this happened a lot, if there was anything that she could do for me. And I let her know that it had happened before and it was common, and me and my friend tried to find somebody to help us. But at the concert, there was nobody really even around. We didn't see any workers. We didn't see anybody to help us. So I had my arm around my friend and she walked us to my car. And she had to drive me home. And while we were sitting, because the concert had just ended, everyone was deciding to leave whenever we were trying to get out of there. And while we were sitting in the car, I started to feel super, super sick. So I opened the door and I started projectile vomiting. It was so, so bad. It was an obvious sign that I had hit the back of my head and I had had a concussion. But what people didn't realize is that I wasn't partying and I wasn't throwing up because I drank too much. I was throwing up because I passed out and hit my head. I don't drink. I was not drinking at all whatsoever. Someone knocked on my window and started screaming like, "Hey, she's fucked up," and started like laughing at me because they thought that I was fucked up off alcohol or drugs or something and just throwing up, and I wasn't. I was fucked up because I had just passed out and hit my head. So my friend got me home, thankfully, and I didn't go to sleep right away because you're not supposed to go to sleep right after you hit your head, or if you may possibly have a concussion. And the next day I went to the doctor to get checked, and they did say that I had a concussion. So I had to take care of myself again and stay off my phone as much as I could, stay away from screens as much as I could, and just kind of rest my brain so that it would fix itself again. Now, something that I didn't really mention in all of the other previous things, because it is kind of embarrassing and I only want the people who are really here to watch my videos to know this, I did pee my pants every single time that I passed out, which was very, very embarrassing. But I'm not really sure why I peed my pants. I just did, and it was a side effect of me passing out. So the next time that I passed out was actually in my car in front of my ex-boyfriend's house. We were having a fight, and I just passed out in the car, and I peed my pants again. And to this day, we still don't fully know exactly why I was passing out. They've said because I didn't eat breakfast, they've said because I didn't drink enough water, but it's been now almost 2 years and I have not had a pass out spell. Knock on wood again. And there has been days that I haven't eaten all day, and there has been days that I haven't drank anything all day, and I don't pass out, which is very, very strange. So if any of this has happened to you guys, please let me know down in the comments below. If you guys have any answers as to what this might have been, I'm just very curious if I'm the only one that this has happened to. So please let me know in the comments down below. And if you have gotten this far, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. And I'm so thankful for over 500 of you. Like, what? That is so mind-blowing. There's over 500 people subscribe to my channel, and I could not be more grateful. Please, please, if you're not already, please hit that red subscribe button and the bell right next to it so that you never miss a time that I post. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, and I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.